As the conflict in the Middle East intensifies, tens of thousands of families have been forced from their homes, sparking a humanitarian crisis. To give us a clearer picture of what's happening on the ground, we're joined live by Nora Ingdal. She's with Save the Children's country director for Lebanon, and she joins us from Beirut. Nora, Israeli launched strikes across Lebanon overnight, and I understand you've been hearing explosions from where you are. Before we just talk a little bit about the people who are displaced, can you just tell us about what you've seen and heard just as this night has progressed?
Yeah, I'm talking to you here from Beirut. It's evening now, but nobody who lives in Beirut cannot avoid hearing the large, intense airstrikes. If I could show you outside my window here, you would see dark clouds coming up from the southern parts of Beirut, where Israel has been bombing throughout started late last night and continues now. You will probably also hear ambulances passing by. So it's the civilian population and children and their families feel we sort of trapped here in Beirut, between the air attacks.
And so, is it even safe to kind of be outside, or does it just depend on what part of Beirut you're in?
Yeah, in the southern part of Beirut, yesterday Israel ordered actually the largest evacuation orders that we've ever heard. It's up to 500,000 people who have been forcefully displaced. So in that whole southern part of Beirut, it's really dangerous. Mm-hmm. Here where I am, I'm in a part of Beirut called Ashrafiyah. It's we can go out, but we never know when it strikes, because there has also been attacks outside those areas. So, but of course, my staff in Save the Children, we are out there helping people. I was also out in schools yesterday, talking to families, children that are been displaced, not just once, but many of these families are displaced for the second time and the third time.
And tell us about that.
So we are out working, but of course you have to always look at security and carefully, consider security assessments for every step you take.
Yeah, I'm sure. And so you're working closely with families who've been impacted. What are you hearing from them?
Well, one mother that I met yesterday, she had two small children and she was highly pregnant. She told me that she had to leave in the middle of the night, take her kids. They pulled it into a car, started driving. She was from the southern part of Lebanon, and a drive that would usually take maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, took them 15 hours. They were sitting in that car. There were bombs, landing sort of, around them. She said, I felt like I was a sitting duck. And children, crying desperately, like asking the mom, where are we going? When are we going to go home? And she's pregnant. And she said to me, like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Where can I deliver my baby? So those kind of desperate stories are what we're hearing here, every day.
And we're hearing that about 58,000 people have been displaced in Lebanon. What are the risks people face while they're on the move? You gave us a good example, but tell us a little bit more about the risks they face.
Yeah, the numbers you referred to is actually old. Already today, there's more than 100,000 that are registered in these collective shelters. These are actually schools that are made into shelters. And the numbers are increasing. So now with the latest forceful eviction orders that Israel issued yesterday, we're talking maybe up to 500,000. So people are really, they're caught and they're trying to seek shelter. But there are no shelters because the schools were already packed and filled up before the latest evacuation order. So we also see here people sleeping on the streets, they're sleeping along the beach, in their cars, but also trying to drive up to the mountains to find a place there. But remember also Lebanon, there's a lot of social tensions, there's a lot of fears also. And communities are hesitant to receive the internally displaced. So all of this in together, and it affects the children. It's, children are feeling, deeply traumatized, distressed, wanting to know also, many of the children remember also the last war in 2024 when they were displaced. Then the war lasted for like almost 60 days. And for a child, 2 months being out of school, not being able to actually be with friends, that's a long time. So this is why in Save the Children, some of the first things we do, after we do, we hand out shelter, blankets, mattresses, the core relief items. But the most important thing after that, it's actually to get kids into learning. We create these child-friendly places so kids can sort of learn in a corner, have some normalcy. And having that normalcy, when you put a book in front of a child and they start, reading, singing, that's deep. That also helps sort of psychologically comfort children. And we know that children would be able to cope better in the long run.
And do aid workers have the adequate resources to support these displaced families?
We have, but we really need much more support. The aid cuts earlier this last year and now has affected us humanitarian organizations massively. So we are also, I'm just saying, anybody watching, if you want, we really need your support also, I have to say, because we can do a lot. In Save the Children, we have 200 staff on the ground. We, when this round of war started on Monday, after just 5 hours, we were actually ready. We were already out there distributing relief items to families. And this is because we were prepared. So we had tried to pre-stock and, prepare ourselves. So when I came in, I could sort of press send on the procurement lines so we could, try and bring in relief items. But the needs are massive. We need your support and also appealing. But of course, most importantly now is to stop this cessation. We need cessation of hostilities because these children need to be protected. And we've in Save the Children urging world leaders to step up efforts to stop this war and also wars. And if the war is not stopped, we're asking, please at least protect civilians because, here there's massive shelling in densely populated areas. The southern parts of Beirut is really heavily populated. And every time I see a dark cloud in the back, I know that there are children being affected, children and civilians that are being affected of those bombs. So stop also shelling densely urban populated areas is our plea to you.
Nora, thank you. That was Save the Children's Country Director for Lebanon, Nora Ingdal.
Thank you.